Today on Veterans Stand Up, I'm talking about best practices for employing veterans with Brian Armstrong, Wells Fargo's program manager of military talent delivery and the national sponsor of their apprenticeship programs. Well, welcome, Brian. Thanks for being with me this morning.
Thank you for having me, Paul.
Now, of course, I think many people know of Wells Fargo, but in case they don't, why don't you give us a little bit about, what Wells Fargo does and also the company's commitment to hiring veterans.
Well, Wells Fargo is one of the largest financial institutions in the United States, and our overall commitment to both military talent and military spouse talent is deep. We have a team of over 30 individuals that are solely committed to military talent across the United States that is about leveraging and connecting military talent, whether it be a transitioning service member, National Guard and Reserve, veterans or military spouses, and connecting them with talent here within the firm.
Now, you've been involved in 3 national programs in different companies, hiring and engaging veterans. What does it take to, run or have one of those programs?
Well, Paul, most folks will look at Wells Fargo or organizations our size and be like, I just don't have the capability to have teams that size. But I think it truly comes down to whether you have one individual or you have 30 individuals. It's about a deep commitment to military talent. We're all patriotic. We're all committed to the success of our transitioning service members or military spouses, but it's truly about a commitment and ensuring that you're taking that talent and placing them within your organization into meaningful roles that they can thrive and be successful in.
Now, I know words matter. If you're not careful, you hear phrases like veteran ready and veteran friendly. What's the difference?
That's a great question, Paul. So while both of them are good, I look at it as like veteran friendly is the entry point. It's really about you are interested in hiring talent. You're doing the basics to set yourself up for success, such as having military friendly language within your job requisitions. But military ready is where you take that next step, where your organization is ready to host these individuals, to have them part of the team, and then ultimately really focused on retaining them. So you think about ready, you've already hired them, they're within the organization, you have those meaningful connections, but what are you doing after that hire that is ensuring that that talent has the ability to thrive? And the first thing that comes to mind is really setting up and having employee resource groups. How are you recognizing talent? How are you collaborating and making sure that that talent has a seat at the table?
Let me follow up on something you just said a second ago, Brian. You said Wells Fargo has 30 people. I mean, that's a lot of people, relatively speaking. Now, I know Wells Fargo is a huge company, but still 30 people is a lot. If you're a company with less resources, you can't have such a big team. Like, how do you stay competitive?
Well, it's really about, whether you're hiring one veteran or you're hiring 8,000 veterans, each one of those hires makes a difference. It's competitive. Like this talent space, as is the overall talent space, is competitive, but how are you making sure that your teams are set up for success? You think about, I think the first thing that comes to mind, Paul, is we are constantly educating our recruiters that might not have the experience, the military experience, but understanding and how to translate military lingo into corporate environment, speak essentially, or educating hiring managers. This might be a transitioning service member that has questions as simple as, how do you set up a meeting invite in Outlook? Where many of us all know how to do that. Some of our transitioning service members might not know how to do that. So we're constantly educating both our recruiters and hiring managers in the value of military talent.
Okay, well, how can a viewer or a listener find out more about Wells Fargo and even follow you? I know you're on social media, you and the company.
Absolutely. So just pay us a visit, Wells Fargo Careers. You can just simply visit our career site. One thing that I will say is make sure that you set up job alerts. The job market is competitive right now. So set up those job alerts, explore, understand, or simply reach out to us at militaryrecruiting@wellsfargo.com. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn and shoot me a note.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. My pleasure.